It takes about 2.5 hours plus to drive from Sun Prairie up to the res. But every time we do, I know it's a trip worth taking. The res has it all up here. It's got the people, it's got the casino, it's got a lot of nature. But most importantly, it's got my family.
Oh my God, that nice looking dinner.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay, fine.
Oh, good. You're on the res. We know how to have fun sometimes. Just hanging out? However, I didn't grow up here, but I do have lots of family members that did. My dad and my grandparents, a couple of aunties and uncles, and some cousins too. I was fortunate enough to come up to the res over Thanksgiving break to talk with my great aunt Melva about her life growing up here on the res and current education issues, particularly with the dying Menominee language.
Hello.
Hi.
Come in.
Oh my God, how cute.
Davey and Ollie. Realize that they're
I started by asking her, what was it like growing up here on the reservation? So, Auntie, what was it like growing up on the reservation, you know, from when you were a child to now, you know, all your experiences and stuff?
Back then, it was, you could leave your windows open, your doors open at night. There was really no problems. Neighborhood kids, we all stayed together in the area. When they have a whistle at the mill, 9 o'clock, when that blew, you went home.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd go to school, and then you'd come home, do your homework, then eat supper, and then help clean up the dishes, and then go play, and then come in at 9, and then it was, we didn't have electronics and this and that. We made our own fun with the walkers and the millers and the bee saws, and it was everybody knew everybody, and nobody bothered anybody, or nobody destroyed anybody's property. Mm-hmm. It's a lot different from today, where it's kids aren't taught to respect people up here, and there's a lot of bullying in the schools, even where I'm at Head Start. 4 and 5-year-olds, and you know, you call a parent in for a conference, and they just basically laugh at you. You know, it's I mean, don't get me wrong, there are good kids up here. You know, some that will really go out their way and acknowledge or anything like that. And like I said, we worked dirt poor, but you know, we had food and roof over our head, and that was, the res was Neopit, where we lived there, was called that God's country up there, because everybody was just helpful and stuck to themselves, and nobody did anything, like I said.
As someone who didn't grow up on the reservation, I was always curious about how Menominee language and culture were taught to the students, especially over the years with changing state legislations and attitudes toward the importance of Menominee culture. So from your standpoint, would you say that like a teaching level of the Menominee culture at the tribal school is, you say it's a lot of culture that's taught, or would you say it's kind of a minimum on like if you look at a spectrum?
I would say it would be, I would say maybe 50-50 is taught on the culture, which I think is great, but with the Menominee culture, years back, the older Menominees, they would say a Menominee word, and these younger ones say a Menominee word, and it's not sounding the same way. It's like they're putting in another syllable which shouldn't be there. And the spelling of the words, they're changing that, which I don't think is right, because where we're at Head Start, like we have, say the color orange. We have an orange paper and then we write orange on there. The Menominee word is Askatamin. Well, it's ASK/TANUN. And then now they're putting it, the straight word, there's no apostrophe or nothing in it. So they're confusing the kids and they're confusing us. And this is like the third different spelling we're going on this year so far. So I think if they have to get their act together and say, okay, do it this way, and that's it.
The Menominee tribe not only has 8 members that can speak the language fluently. These numbers have potential to fall, and if it reaches 0, the language will be considered dead. I was lucky to get an opinion from my great aunt on what she thinks should be done about this problem. So if it were up to you, would you make it a mandatory thing for all children or maybe high schoolers to learn some more history about the culture here on the reservation, and also learn the language a little bit more, since it is kind of considered a dying language?
Yeah. Yeah, I would encourage the Menominee language more, and not only in the schools, but to use it in the community more. And like at powwow time, they do have a pageant, it's called. No, it's not, and it's all in Menominee language. It's all elder people and young people. And I think with every tribe, their language is, going downhill. And I don't think that they'll bring it back to the full list, but I mean, it would be nice to see, because a lot of the older elderly, that's all they did was speak Menominee.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that I can remember, like Mrs. Agnes Mashawquit, and everything was Menominee with her. And that would be great to see someday.
I was also very fortunate to get in contact with Paul Wilkie, a social worker for the Menominee Indian School District. He has opened my eyes to the different issues educators and staff have to overcome. A quote that really stood out for me was the following: "In the last 20 years or so, it seems that school employees are asked to do more with less. Class sizes have increased and responsibilities for staff continue to grow. Educators find themselves continuously having to defend their decisions to students, parents, and even school boards. Fewer college students are entering the field of education due to low wages, greater responsibilities, and being underappreciated. School staff are asked to feed, clothe, and educate students, taking away much of the responsibility of parents and families. When we provide these things for children, one has to ask themselves, are we helping the student, or are we enabling the parents and families? It's a dilemma that may not have an easy answer." With a large emphasis on meeting Common Core standards, alongside these external needs to take care of students, education of the Menominee language has taken a step back. After my day on the res, I was able to learn a lot of interesting information from Paul Wilkie and my great aunt Melva. Paul Wilkie was a great resource to get some more knowledge on issues facing the education system on the reservation. We were able to see that the system is not perfect because of these problems, and hopefully soon these problems can be resolved. My great aunt Melva growing up may not have been the greatest experience on the reservation, but she was able to make the best of it, and also has made a really good life out of it as well. Through her time working in the school district, she's seen both the ups and downs. She also believes in the Menominee language and is also aware that it is dying. Her suggestions may also lead to the language being revived throughout the reservation. Pemata Shimakut, it lives. The Menominee Nation, timber, nature, life, home.